Welcome back. Check out that picture postcard live at the United Center. Chicago continues to shine this week, Erica, in the national spotlight. Beautiful weather, not to mention.
Right. So many things cooperating to make this come together in our city. Now we want to bring in two of our political analysts, former Mayor Lori Lightfoot and former Alderman Leslie Hairston. All right, the two big stars tonight are hometown heroes, Barack and Moshel. You both know them. And how did they do in selling the Harris Walls ticket? I know, Mayor, you talked about what you believe was going to be in that speech. Did it live up to what you were thinking?
Well, if you put the two together, it's the yin and the yang. She did a masterful takedown of Donald Trump. She gave the marching orders for folks here in the arena, but also out there, to not sit on the sidelines, not complain, but to move forward. And the former president, being a much more cerebral speaker, went through the policy notions. But to put together, it was just a home run. I mean, I was in a space watching both of their speeches, and the physical reaction, enthusiasm of people all around me was incredible. Mm-hmm. They loved each and every word that came out of their mouths.
Yeah, Leslie, we talked about the message of hope probably being a theme tonight. And it's pretty clear Michelle Obama understood the assignment tonight. Even the former president said, I'm not sure it's a good idea for me to follow her.
I agree with the president. Michelle is definitely a tough act. But, I think her comments her comments to people to do something, right?
Yes.
Because you can't just talk about it. You can't just, have memes about it. You can't just have it there. It doesn't happen by magic. It happens when we do something.
There were common themes, of course, hope, but she in some ways sort of reworked those words, talking about don't be small. Now, when you think about those speeches that we all heard many years ago and now this one tonight, did it seem like the correct evolution? It seemed like people in here, there was a nod to the past and just her familiarity, those words.
No, I think she definitely did that, and it's a dig. It's saying, look, this is where we were, this is where we are, and if you want to keep going on that path, this is how we get there.
But she specifically said in the opening part of her speech, hope is making a comeback.
Yes.
Right.
And that really set the tone.
The other thing from the former president, Mayor, was I think the message that we've been talking about since Sunday, and that is getting the message to people outside this building. We know that the folks in here believe it, but the key is trying to reach people outside, and it seemed like the former president was trying to do that.
No, I think both of them were. They speak to a larger audience. And every time Michelle is out and about, people listen, they stop, they pause. And the same thing, obviously, the former president has not lost his magic to be able to excite people. And people far beyond the confines of this building heard him tonight.
Well, I think also you look at the tone that they both had tonight. I mean, they could have been more rah-rah but they really came across as serious. They were very serious. It was very heartfelt. Michelle's reference to the recent loss of her mother, the reference to Barack's grandmother in his speech, they made it very, very personal. But I also noticed how they kept the tone down. They kept it calming. They kept it not the opposite of what we've been seeing.
There was definitely talk of Trump on both sides, and we've played a couple of those comments, particularly the one about what a black job could be as president. Boy, that
Classic line.
A reaction in here. Mayor, your thoughts on that?
Listen, I just thought there were so many moments in both of the speeches, and particularly in the former First Lady, where she just said things in such a poignant way. That's going to be, the Twitter sphere is going to go crazy. But that one in particular,
Let's quickly touch on Governor Pritzker, because this sounded like a stump speech had he been actually picked as the VP.
I think he likes to give stump speeches. He enjoys what he does. And so I think, he's happy. He's proud of the work that he's done. And I think you saw it reflected here tonight.
He's a joyful warrior.
Yeah,
for sure.
He was on attack tonight.
Yeah,
for sure.
Do you think that he specifically used harsh words like stupidity, but for him, he didn't have the former President Barack Obama and Michelle, they didn't have to use those words. But Governor Pritzker, it seems to work for him.
Well, I think he refined the stump speech that he's been using for the last year and really elevated it to, I think, a pitch perfect level. It was a great speech for him, for sure.
All right.
Thank you both very much.